So the first step always is to find the GCF. So I found my GCF using what I'm writing below, and now I'm going to erase that so I can go to step 2. Step 2 would be to pick something from 7-5 if it's possible, which is perfect square trinomial or difference of two squares. So we were able to use a perfect square trinomial here. So my answer for the perfect square trinomial came out to x plus 2 squared, and the GCF has 4x in front of it. We keep that GCF in front of it still. Okay, so step 1 was to find the GCF, so I put that in pink, the 2y, and I was left with x squared minus y squared. So then I was checking step 2, which is difference of two squares or perfect square trinomial, and we did have a difference of two squares. So I wrote out my two groups with a plus sign and a minus sign, and I put my first term and last term, x and y, and I remembered to put my GCF in front. That is our final answer. So step 1 on this list that I keep referring to, step 1 tells us to check for a GCF. So there is no there is a GCF. The GCF you guys said was 1. Nice job. But other than that, we can't do anything with the GCF, so we need to move to step 2. So we don't have a difference of two squares, and we don't have a perfect square trinomial from step 2, so that means we skip that step as well, and we go to step 3 now. So we move to step 3, and we realize that we have an ax squared plus bx plus c problem from 7-4, because a has a number there. It has a 3 in front of the x squared. So we have to multiply a times c, then we split the b. We end up with 4 terms, and we're going to factor by grouping now to get our final answer. So our final answer is x plus 1 times 3x plus 4. In the order that you write that does not matter. You can have 3x plus 4 times x plus 1. Do one. So step 1 was to find the GCF, so we did that. It's 2p to the third, and I found out what was left over. And now we're going to move on to step 2. So we didn't have a perfect square trinomial or a difference of two squares, so we moved on to step 3, which was factoring, and it was specifically 7-3 because there's no number in front of the p squared. What I did on the right was using x because some people don't want to look at the variable p, so you can change that to x if you want to.
I'm doing it.
So first we start with GCF. The GCF was 3x to the 4th. Then we have a trinomial left. So for step 2, I checked to see if we had a perfect square trinomial. It was not. The 3 and 8 are not perfect squares. Definitely isn't difference of two squares. So then I moved to step 3, which is factoring. And I'm using the harder factoring method from 7-4 to get my final answer.